Hi, I'm Jeff from New York. Please like and subscribe.
Episode 51. So many beautiful women. Jeff's family owned more than 30 islands, and several of them had medical facilities. Squad 3 of the security team took Jeff and Lelaine to Emerald Island for treatment. They both had quite serious injuries, and Jeff had been hit by 2 bullets. Although Lelaine had managed to cling to life, she had been under the water for too long, resulting in injury to her brain. She hadn't regained consciousness as soon as they arrived. The best doctor on the island operated on them. Jeff had now been on the island for more than a week. Lelaine was still in a coma, while Jeff was only now being allowed out of bed. The first thing he did was visit Lelaine. Jeff was reassured when the doctor informed him that her condition was stable and she should wake up within the next few days. Looking at Lelaine's pale face, Jeff smiled faintly. He walked out of the room, leaning on a walking stick. After lying in bed for more than a week, he needed to get some air. 2 of the nurses who took care of Lelaine's watched him leave.
Who was that?
Maria asked.
Oh, Anna, I told you we should take turns sitting with Lelaine. If anyone hurts her, I don't want to be held responsible.
They rushed into the ward to check on their patient, only calming down when they saw she was safe.
I told you that this island is secure.
Anna said.
Besides, this is the girlfriend of Jeff Florento. Anyone who dares to touch her is courting death.
I saw how scared you were just now.
Maria glanced at Anna before shifting her gaze back to Lelaine.
Mr. Florento's girlfriend is very pretty. I don't know what she's normally like, but she's so quiet now.
It doesn't matter. She's Jeff Florento's girlfriend. It's not as though she'll have much to do with us.
Florento pointed out.
And you've seen the other Florento men's girlfriends with their noses in the air.
She shuddered.
And what about Matthew Florento group of girlfriends? They're practically prostitutes. All they know how to do is make themselves beautiful, stay in shape and seduce Matthew Florento. Just look at them. They don't look like respectable girls at all.
Anna's tone was bitter.
That's true.
Maria nodded.
But Anna, why do I get the impression you're jealous? Did you want to seduce him yourself?
Why would I be jealous?
Seeing that Maria was poking fun at her, Anna couldn't help but laugh.
Hee hee. You know I don't want to seduce him, but do you?
The 2 nurses began to tease each other. Lelaine's eyelids twitched as she slowly opened her eyes. She looked around at her surroundings: bright walls, huge windows, a clean table with flowers and a bowl of fruit.
Where am I?
She wondered. Having been in a coma for more than a week, she had no idea what had happened. Anna and Maria smiled at her, happy to see that she had finally woken up. When Lelaine saw the 2 young nurses, she was shocked. This was a hospital, and it looked like a particularly expensive one, not one she could afford. She wanted to get up and leave as soon as possible. Unfortunately, her body was still extremely weak. She only managed to lift herself a little before she fell back onto the bed.
Lelaine, lie still.
Maria said in a worried tone. If they couldn't take care of Lelaine properly, the family would fire them.
Please get the paperwork to discharge me.
Lelaine said, looking at them.
I want to leave the hospital.
You haven't fully recovered from your injuries yet.
Anna told her.
You're not well enough to leave the hospital.
Even if I haven't recovered, I still have to leave.
Lelaine said.
I don't have the money to pay for treatment, and this hospital looks very expensive. I've been here for a few days, so the bill must already be really high. I can't work right now, but I'll pay what I owe as soon as I can.
Anna and Maria stared at her, totally dumbfounded.
Lelaine, what are you talking about? You're the girlfriend of Mr. Florento, the eldest son, and this is his family's hospital. Why would you have to pay?
Maria asked, frowning in confusion.
Are you trying to give us a tip? We can't take that. If we got caught, we'd lose our jobs.
She explained.
Mr. Florento.
Lelaine repeated.
Eldest son, family hospital.
This time it was her turn to be confused. She looked at Maria and Anna and carefully asked.
Who is this Mr. Florento you're talking about?
The eldest Florento son is Jeff. Don't you remember your own boyfriend?
Anna asked. Lelaine was stunned. She asked the two nurses to sit on the bed while she asked them questions. Only then did she learn that she was on an island owned by Jeff's family, and they were genuinely rich. She remembered Scarlett and her friends holding her under the water, and when she'd been dying, she'd heard Jeff shout. She realized Jeff must have saved her, and she felt a burst of warmth in her heart.
Miss Lelaine may ask who your family is.
Anna asked, while Maria watched with interest.
You can just call me Lelaine.
She smiled.
I'm not anyone important. I'm just an ordinary girl from nowhere special.
Maria and Anna were surprised. Most of the other Florento men brought home girlfriends who were famous models. After chatting with Lelaine for a while, Anna and Maria realized that she didn't put on any airs at all. She spoke to them like equals, and they liked her. They got Lelaine settled and left her to rest.
If Jeff Florento likes a girl like Lelaine, then do you think we have a chance?
Anna asked, secretly delighted.
I think so.
Maria answered.
One look at Lelaine and I know that Jeff must be a very easygoing person, and I really want to meet him. But we only know his name and nothing else. We wouldn't know if we saw him.
As they were talking, they passed by Jeff, who was wandering around the island with his walking stick.
Who says I wouldn't recognize him? He wouldn't be able to hide his status.
Anna lowered her voice a little and gestured at Jeff.
For instance, I know it can't possibly be that cripple.
You're right.
Maria agreed. Then they walked off, full of longing for the eldest Florento son. Jeff was strolling around the island, leaning on his walking stick. He had been to this island when he was young, and now he was rediscovering the place.
Mr. Florento!
A middle-aged man spotted him and hurried over. When he reached him, he slightly bowed his head and said,
I'm glad to see you up and about. I see your injuries are healing, and you look well.
Seeing Francis Florento made Jeff happy. Francis was from another, more distant branch of the Florento family. Unlike Jeff, Francis was only responsible for some of the less important parts of the family business. The family had existed for hundreds, even thousands of years. There were many branches scattered over different areas. Even among commoners, there were many descendants of the Florento's family.
I'm still recuperating,
Jeff said.
so I'll have to trouble you to take care of me a bit longer.
Jeff was very grateful to Francis. During the days he'd been on the island, Francis had taken really good care of him.
Mr. Florento, it's no trouble at all.
Francis assured him.
The entire island belongs to the family, and I only did my duty. I'm happy to be of assistance.
Francis lowered his head. Jeff could only smile sadly. Ever since Jeff was young, Francis had been nothing but polite and formal with him.
Mr. Florento, your family has sent some news. I'll find you later to bring you up to date,
said Francis, then revealed the most important piece of news.
Grandpa's coming.
Jeff said excitedly. It had been 7 years since he had seen his beloved grandfather. Memories of him flashed through his mind, and a smile appeared on his face.
I'll ask someone to help bath you before your grandfather gets here,
Francis said respectfully. Jeff was still wearing the same clothes he had arrived in. Francis had already prepared clothes for him, but he hadn't worn them, insisting that his clothes were more comfortable.
No need.
Jeff assured him with a smile.
I'm fine like this. My grandfather knows what I'm like, and he won't mind.
But Mr. Florento, you're still.
Francis wanted to persuade Jeff to change, but it was too late. Jeff was already leaving.
Don't worry, Francis.
Jeff called.
I'm just going to walk around some more. Once Grandpa arrives, I'll go and see him.
They were both members of the Florento family, but Jeff lived a carefree life. But in the future, perhaps his descendants would one day become commoners. Francis clenched his fists in frustration. Jeff casually walked along the small path. The surrounding flowers bloomed with a rich purple and red color, and the lush green forest was beautiful. His mood lightened as he walked round, taking deep breaths of fresh air and letting it cleanse him inside.
Over here.
Someone called.
Pass it to me.
Came another voice. The faint sounds of laughing and talking could be heard from nearby. It sounded like people having fun. Jeff followed the noise, walked past a few rows of coconut trees, and found himself standing on the beach. He stopped and looked around. There were about 10 gorgeous women wearing bikinis and playing volleyball. There were various races, each of them had an excellent figure, and their faces were beautiful. One woman missed the ball and landed face first on the ground. Then she sat up, spitting out sand at the place she had fallen. Two round impressions remained in the sand. A blonde woman jumped up to hit the ball. When she landed, her breasts bounced enticingly within her bikini top. Jeff's eyes bulged as he watched, sure that those small pieces of fabric wouldn't be able to contain her chest. The two bikini beauties embraced in celebration, and their chests awkwardly pressed against each other. They pulled back, smiled wryly, and eventually did high five instead. The beach was awash with flashes of beautiful skin, and Jeff's eyes were about to pop out of his head. Slowly, a silly smile appeared on his face. He lowered himself down to the sand and settled to watch this delightful sea.